Hi, I'm Shannon Purser. I played Barb in Stranger Things, and you're watching Pop Culture with Pat.
What's your favorite scary movie?
Trick or treat!
Hey guys, welcome back to Pop Culture with Pat. I'm so excited to be joined by today's guests. Today I'm talking to Shannon Purser, who you might know as Barb from Stranger Things. We're also going to be talking about the musical aspect of her career as well. Shannon, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you so much for having me. Happy to be here.
Yeah, you're very welcome. It's crazy. Like I was just talking, before we had jumped on, just talking about that the show next year. It'll be 10 years when the show came out, and obviously you guys were working on filming it beforehand. So I guess just to start things off for you, Shannon, what was your reaction? I guess reading through the scripts for the first time, and can you talk about what your audition process was like for the series?
Yeah, I had been, I guess, sort of trying to act professionally since I was about 16 years old. But I hadn't booked anything. I'd like gone out for quite a few things, gotten close, but nothing had ever panned out. And then I got an email in my inbox from my agents at the time who were based in Atlanta about a TV show for Netflix that was called like Montauk at the time. And I read it and I was just immediately like, this is so cool. I love 80s movies, I love sci fi. Um, I heard that Winona Ryder was attached. That was crazy because I've been a huge fan of hers forever. And yeah, I was just like, oh, this is such a cool project. Of course, none of us had any idea what it would become or that it would like blow up in this massive way. But like, I was just, yeah, super excited about the prospect. So, my like good friend at the time, I was 18, I was in my like senior year of high school. Um, we kind of just did what we usually do when I had auditions. She would come over, we would go into my basement and like record my little like self-tape auditions together. And so I just sent in a tape with her as like my reader. And pretty quickly after that, heard that they wanted me to meet with the Duffer Brothers and like read with them. And this was definitely like the closest I had like really come to actually getting a part. It was my first time like going to like a major studio, Screen Gems, which is in Atlanta. And I just remember like my mom driving me to that audition and being so nervous, but so excited. I like went in and I saw some of like the costumes. I saw like photos of the people that they had already cast. They'd already cast Natalia at that point. Um, and then I met the Duffer Brothers and I was just like in a little office with them. And
Was it always Barb, by the way? Like, did you
it
audition for anyone else? Because I know sometimes obviously that happens. It was always Barb for you.
was always Barb, yeah, for sure. And I immediately was like, oh, I know who this person is. Like, because I feel like I just, I don't know, very much was kind of a Barb, or I felt like a Barb at that time in my life. A little awkward, like, kind of the kid who like doesn't quite fit in, but like really wants to. Just felt very relatable to me. So yeah, I went in and I can't remember if I met Natalia that day or not. I don't know if I did, but I read for the brothers. Probably the most intimidating part of that whole audition was that they wanted me to like basically like improv, like waking up in the upside down and
Oh,
like
wow.
seeing the Demogorgon and being super scared. And honestly, I feel like I was I was maybe braver back then than I am now because I went for it. I was like screaming at the top of my lungs in like this office with them. And they were just like, that was great. And I was like, okay. And I left and I just remember like talking to my mom and being like, I have no idea how that went. Like, we'll see. And then I
How long
think
did
it
you have
was
to wait?
either, sorry, what'd you say?
I was gonna say, how long did you have to wait to hear back?
Not long. Yeah, I was gonna say, I think it was maybe the next day.
Wow.
Uh, I will never forget this. I was working at a movie theater at the time. Um, and so we got like movies for free, and like my family got free movies. That was like the big perk. And so I remember my mom and I again were like watching a movie in the theater. And normally I do not condone being on your phone in a movie theater, but we were like, I think we were the only people in the theater, and people have asked me what movie we were seeing, and I don't remember. But I was like so excited and nervous, so I like just like pulled up my phone and like checked my email. Um,
There it
and
was.
they were like, they wanna like book you for Barb, and I was like, oh my God, I was so excited. And it all just happened really fast after that, and that was my first time acting professionally. It was just like a whole new world opened up for me.
Yeah, and I mean the rest is history. I mean, what was the moment for you that you knew that Stranger Things, it blew up obviously. What was the moment that you knew that it really captured the pop culture zeitgeist?
I don't know. I mean, I think I was so like proud of the work that I had like done. I was so impressed by just the scale of filmmaking. I'd never been on like a real film set before, or TV set before. And I was just like blown away by that entire process. I thought it was the coolest thing in the world, and I still do. And yeah, I was just so happy to have like been a part of it. But when the show came out on Netflix, I think like the first hint that like something was going on was like my like follower counts like on like Instagram and Twitter just like skyrocketed so fast. That was weird. I was like, whoa, why do people like
What's
why are
going on?
people yeah, checking in on me? This is bizarre. Um and then I mean I think it really sunk in when like there were just all these like little things. Like there was like a Jimmy Fallon like sketch, like a Stranger Things sketch, and all these like other actors that I really respected were talking about how like they liked Stranger Things, and like we got nominated for Emmys, and it just like really yeah, it really just blew up so fast.
It was
That
crazy
whole
because
time in my life still feels kind of like a blur.
as I remember, I'm a super big nerd for, all things television, film. And so, and I still do to this day. I pick up, magazines, whether it's like Entertainment Weekly, Empire, Total Film, things like that. And I remember my first exposure to the show was seeing this poster just in a magazine. And it reminded me of like the Drew Struzan posters that I grew up seeing at, movie theaters and things like that. So I was like, what is this? It captured my attention. And then we got the trailer, watched that. I remember sitting down to watch, and I was like, oh, I'm excited to check this out. But I was like, it'll probably be a show for like me. It might be kind of like one of those niche shows. And I figured no one else on my friends list was going to be talking about it. And by the end of that first week that it had released, everybody on my friends list, Facebook, social media, everybody was talking about the show. And that's when I knew I was like, whoa, this is crazy.
That's how I felt too. Like it's like a genre show, and I wasn't sure if it was, yeah, gonna be something that people would love because, I mean, sci-fi or like horror or, stuff like that is tends to be more of like a niche like appeal, for people.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I was just kind of like hoping anybody would watch it, and then like everybody watched it. It was
Yeah, I
crazy.
thought I saw something, and I could be wrong about this, but and this was like years ago, but I thought I saw something that like I guess David Harbour was like kind of nervous about like how the show was going to do initially. It's like, is anybody going to watch this kind of thing? And then, sure enough, the rest is history, and it blew up and became one of the most popular shows of all time. But yeah, I thought I saw like an interview of like, I don't know if it was him or just someone else saying that he was kind of like nervous, I guess, about it like initially.
Yeah, I remember like being at the wrap party for season one, and we were all like, having a great time and like celebrating. And we were all kind of just like, who knows? Like we're putting it out to the world and like hope people like it. That was kind of the energy.
Yeah, you never know until once it's actually out there for the audiences to consume. And Barb's death scene in that first season, I'm sure obviously like you said, you didn't expect the reaction that your character got, but that was probably one of the most impactful moments I would say in the series overall. So could you just talk a little bit about filming that specific scene in the Upside Down, being attacked by the Demogorgon and everything?
Yeah, that was actually the last scene that I shot for season one. And that was one of my favorite days on set. It was actually super fun. I remember going into the set for the first time, seeing that they had like built like the pool, the empty pool and the upside down. There were all these like gross tendrils and like slimy vines everywhere. And I think, actually, now that I think about it, that was the first day that I shot, and maybe the only day that I shot in a soundstage. Everything else I had shot was on location. And so I think that I was just so like blown away by like the movie magic of it all. Like they built this entire world. Like that's crazy to me that they can like fabricate something so detailed and like eerie and specific. I just felt like I was walking into like another planet. And I was also like, they built all of this for one scene that I'm like the only person in. Like, I think I was struck by kind of like the magnitude of filmmaking and the artistry of it all. Um, so yeah, I walked into set. I saw it was so great. The creature actor who played the Demogorgon in season one, because there was like an actual suit in the first season. Um, I think they did like CG stuff for the face, but there
Yeah.
was like a practical suit, which was really cool. He was just like in the corner, like in his giant like Demogorgon suit, like sitting in his little chair. And I was just like, hi. And yeah, it was intimidating because I was basically the only person in that scene. So a lot was like riding on me to like convey like the horror of it all. But I had so much fun. I remember at the end of that day, I was like covered in slime because there was like all this like glycerin slime over everything. Um, I had to like cough up like baby food at like the top of the scene. It was really gross, but I would do it over again like a million times. I love horror. I love all the like gross practical effects and stuff. So it was a dream.
I love that. And can you just talk a little bit about working with, obviously a lot of your scenes with Natalia, but also Joe Keery, just kind of developing the bond and relationship between you guys and working with him on this first season?
Yeah, they all the like teens at the time, which is so strange to say now because now the kids are like fully adults, which boggles my mind. But yeah, all the teens just like got along really well. It was just like a nice, friendly group of people. Everybody was really excited to be there. Everybody, yeah, worked together very professionally. And um, yeah, Joe's a sweetheart. Natalia, Charlie, everybody was really friendly and got along well. And yeah, I definitely spent the majority of my time with Natalia, which makes sense because
Yeah, being
I
the
think
best friend.
Barb didn't really have any friends like apart from her, really. So in a way, I think it helped that like she was kind of like my lifeline on the set because that's like just reflective of how it would be in real life.
Yeah.
Um, but everybody was really great. Everybody was really friendly.
And what does it mean to you to not only see the impact that your character Barb has had on the fans, but also the fact that she's had such an impact on the overall story of the show going throughout the seasons up to season four?
It's, I mean, it's bizarre, honestly. Like, I think, haven't totally processed all of it. Um, I thought the show was going to be great. I didn't know that it was going to become like the phenomenon that it became, but I knew it was going to be good. And I was proud of the work that I did, but I truly, fully thought nobody would care about Barb or me at all. Like, I feel like people would be reminded, they would be like, oh, the girl like in the first, like the very beginning of the show who died, but I didn't think that she would leave really an impact at all. I just was hoping that I was like doing a good enough job. Like, and yeah, when not only the show got so much attention, but like Barb specifically, I think I was just kind of in shock. I like, yeah, could not have anticipated that ever. Um,
Justice for Barb campaign that came out.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I was really like flattered. Like, I mean, flattered is like an understatement, but like all you want as an actor is like to do a good job, to like help the story, to like hopefully resonate with somebody who sees you perform. And I just remember getting like a flood of messages like on social media, people being like, you remind me so much of like me when I was in high school in the 80s, or like my mom, or my like best friend in high school. Um, she just, I think, really felt like such a real person to people. And that was kind of the brilliance of the casting in that show. I mean, I'm pretty sure it won best casting or like best ensemble cast in at
Oh
like the
yeah.
SAG Awards. Um, Carmen Cuba was like the main casting director on that show. I think she did an incredible job of just like finding people who felt real, who felt like relatable. Clearly has like an amazing eye for talent. I mean, so
Yeah.
many of the actors in that cast were like kind of unknown before that show.
Yep.
Um, and that's what I think like great casting is just like seeing something that maybe not everybody else sees. And yeah, really cool to
Just felt
for
really
like no
authentic.
real effort of my own. Like, I mean, I think that I did a good job. I'm proud of the work that I did, but
Oh
like
yeah, you were amazing.
it was just like magic. Like everything happened
Yeah.
the right person at the right time. Yeah.
But it was, I mean, it just felt so authentic. And like granted, I was born in 1990, so I didn't grow up in the 80s, but it felt authentic. It felt like how you think kids would actually speak and act. And yeah, just everything, well-written characters you truly care about. Because a lot of times there's just characters, they're just, kind of there in the background. But even, characters that weren't part of the main cast, they play like major roles. They get their time to shine. So it just kind of hit on all cylinders, and it's like you don't get shows like that come around too often. But I wanted to shift things a little bit to talk about the musical aspect of your career as well, Shannon, because
Oh
you've
yeah,
been
that'd be
releasing
great.
some music. So what kind of inspired you to kind of kickstart this aspect of your career and start putting out some music over the past several years?
Yeah, I have loved music since I was a kid. My parents were definitely playing a lot of like great oldies growing up. We listened to a lot of like kind of like classic rock. Like we listened to Boston, we listened to America, ELO. Definitely like doing Stranger Things. I was like, I know so many of like these like needle drops because I like grew up listening to like Africa by Toto. Like
Yeah.
there, yeah, there's so much of it that felt really familiar to me. Um, and I did choir growing up. I did like musical theater, which I love, still love so much. And so music has always been like a big part of my life, but I always kind of like, I don't know, talked myself out of really pursuing it in a serious way. I think it was just like a fear thing that I wouldn't be able to like translate my vision into like real life. Um, but I got really lucky and I've met some really incredible musicians that I've like collaborated with. I write a lot of like questionable notes app poetry. And so a lot of that has been kind of like the foundation for my songwriting. Um, and I'm really like proud of myself. It's something that I enjoy. It definitely feels like, I don't know, a little bit lower stakes than how I feel with acting. Like acting, I think will always be my like first love and like my main priority, but I love the creative aspect of music and songwriting. Um, I like that I really get to speak like from my own heart and explore like my own interests. I feel like acting is so fun, but you usually don't have a lot of like creative power as an actor. You're kind of just there to do what you're told to do. So yeah, I've been sort of like toying around. I've put out a couple of singles in the past couple years. My latest one is called Leave Good Ending, and it's inspired by Silent Hill 2. I'm a
Love
huge
that.
like horror fan, like a big gamer. And I loved that game, and I was just immediately inspired to write a song about it. Um, and yeah, I guess that's really like my whole approach to songwriting is that I find art that like inspires me and kind of just go from there.
I was going to ask you too, and obviously, I'm sure it probably varies to a degree with every single song. Every song is different in its own way, but how does the songwriting process, what does that kind of look like for you when you go to sit down and create a piece of music?
I wish I could like articulate it well, but it's really just that like something will really capture my attention. Like with this song in particular, I don't know if anybody's ever played Silent Hill 2 if you're familiar with the game, but there's like a sort of scene at the end where the protagonist has like kind of confronted his demons. He was like looking for his wife in this beautiful old hotel. And then like reality kind of hits him, and the hotel is suddenly like rotting and like falling apart. And he sees the hotel for like what it actually is, which is like decaying. Um, and there was just something so like I love the ambiance of that game, the vibe of that game. The soundtrack is so good. It's so like haunting and beautiful. Um, and that image, I think of him just like being confronted with like the reality of his situation after kind of living in denial for so long really stuck with me. And so usually the songwriting process is like I don't even necessarily intend to write a song. Like I'll just write like a poem essentially. Um,
This kind of happens.
and then if there's one that I like enough, then I might send it to like a friend and be like, could this be a song? Which is basically what I did with this one.
Yeah, and I was going to ask you like where, like what was kind of the inspiration? So just obviously you were a big fan, like you said, of the Silent Hill games. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
do you have like any, I guess, particular, what's like kind of your goals with your music? Or do we have a possible album coming from you in the future?
I would love that. I think the only thing that gives me pause is that my like method, I guess, of like inspiration is so random. Like if I hadn't decided to play Silent Hill 2, like that song wouldn't exist, you know? And so I think making an album takes like a lot of planning and like intention to like really build a whole narrative. And I worry that if I like waited for me to write 10 songs or whatever, it would be like 15 years from now. And I like really don't want to wait that long. So yeah, I think I'm like ruminating on it. I have some other projects that I'm working on right now. I'm like doing some screenwriting. I'm hoping to make my like directorial debut in a few months, which I'm very excited to like start talking about with people. So music is like a little bit on the back burner, but it's definitely ruminating in the back of my mind.
So you're doing a little bit of everything. You got acting, songwriting, now getting into to directing.
Yeah,
It
I love art. Yeah,
sounds like you're pretty busy.
I am busy. I like, I don't know. I think with acting and like being in this industry, it can be kind of demoralizing to feel like you're always waiting for somebody to give you an opportunity or waiting for somebody to validate you and your skills. And I just got kind of tired of that. And I'm kind of at the point where I have so many ideas. I love writing. Um, I've been doing a lot of screenwriting lately, and I'm like proud of the work that I'm putting out in that respect. So yeah, I mean, honestly, like I just remember being like around the Duffer Brothers when I was shooting, being 18. And those guys were like in their like 30s. They were like young guys. And I was just inspired that these people could create something and like manifest that into real life, and that a huge corporation like Netflix would like take a chance on these like kind of new filmmakers. And so yeah, really within the past couple of years I've been like, why couldn't I do that?
Yeah.
And that's my goal. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, just creating your own opportunities. Well, and as far as kind of putting on, I don't know, like how much you can say if you have any involvement with the upcoming season, but do you have any ideas with season five for Stranger Things as far as like, it's releasing the end of this year, what you would like to see, maybe how it might wrap up, or any predictions of like who we could possibly lose in this final season as far as characters go?
Oh, it's yeah, it's I mean, I can't believe it's been 10 years. It's really like the end of an era. Um Yeah, I think you mentioned earlier, like I was just so surprised that like even Barb's storyline continued beyond season one. That was really sweet. I feel like
Yeah.
the Duffers really got the message that people were concerned about Barb, and they gave her kind of like a nice send off, which I appreciate. But yeah, in this last season, I don't know. I just feel for these kids. Like they're so traumatized.
Oh yeah.
These like these events, these things that they're going through are so
Or Will.
horrific. I know. They're all really um they could all use a break. I don't know. Maybe I'm like too much of a an optimist, but I'm like, it's gonna like all wrap up and everybody's gonna be okay.
I hope
And
so.
and they're all gonna like forget that this ever happened, and they'll have beautiful lives. I just really want like a happy ending for everybody.
I would love that. I mean, it's my favorite series of all time, so I would love to have a happy ending. These characters, they go off, they get to enjoy their lives, but I just have a feeling it's like that we get to the end of this year, I'm sure we just can't expect what's about to happen. I know in season four, I was talking to Chester and I was just saying I was crying multiple times in that
Yeah.
season, so I can only
Well,
imagine what's going to
I
happen
really
here.
admire the brothers, and this was something that they stuck by when people did kind of freak out about Barb dying, was that like this is a show with like high stakes, and some people like have to be a victim to
Yeah,
that. Not everybody can be safe. They definitely don't really pull punches on that show.
no,
So I think it's gonna be, I mean, I have no
it's
idea,
going to be a
but
lot.
I think it's gonna be a lot.
Well, just to wrap things up for you, Shannon, first off, where can fans stay up to date with your work moving forward with all your different projects, whether it's acting, songwriting, your directing project coming up, where can they stay up to date? And is there anything else that you would like to say to all your fans out there in general?
Yeah, well, I'm on social media. I'm on Instagram and Twitter at Shannon Purser, which is just my name. And then my musical project is called Sister Seer. So if you want to listen to my music, it's on Apple Music and Spotify and everywhere under that name. Um, Message to fans, I guess. Wow, just like thanks for sticking around for 10 years. Thank you for your support, for like really rallying around me and the rest of these characters and in this show. Uh, it's incredible. It's incredible that it's become this like phenomenon that it is. Um, and I guess just that I hope that like it inspires people to make their own art, to value their own voices, and to create the worlds that they want to see.
Just like the Dovers, I mean, they were inspired by the likes of Stephen King, Steven Spielberg, and I'm sure they're going to inspire future filmmakers. Well, Shannon, I just want to say thank you so much for your time today. It was wonderful getting to talk to you about the show and also about your musical aspect of your career as well. Thank you so much for your time, and you're welcome back anytime in the future.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Hi, I'm Shannon Purser. I played Barb in Stranger Things, and you're watching Pop Culture with Pat.